The first element of my simple sales copy formula is your title or headline. Titles and headlines can be found everywhere online, whether it's an ebook, a website, a web page, a video course, a product name, a sales letter, or an email subject line. All of these things have titles or headlines, but these headlines are critical to the success of whatever it is you're selling. So if it's a web page, the headline on your web page is critical. If you're selling an ebook, the title is absolutely critical. The headline on your ebook description is critical. If you sell a product, the name of the product is critical. And the headline at the top of your product description will make all the difference as to whether it sells or not. If you're an email marketer, the phrase you use in your email subject line makes all the difference as to whether people open or don't open your emails. And it also sets the expectations for what they will find. So let's take a little bit of time and talk about what makes a good title or headline. In its most basic form, your title or headline just needs to be a compelling hook that leads into your body copy. The main purpose of it is just to get the reader to read more, or to click on your web page in Google search results, or to click on the advertisement that they see on a web page, right? The point is to get them to take the next step and read your copy. And you have to do this without over-promising, misleading, or confusing them. Because it's important that when they get to your body copy, they see what they're expecting to see, or they see something even better than what they were expecting to see. Okay, let's talk about the different types of headlines that you can use. And by the way, there are tons of different types of headlines, but we're going to look at some of the most effective and easy to use headlines. If you've used all of these and you're still hungry for more, you can easily just Google how to write good headlines or types of headlines, and you'll come up with tons of different resources with lists and lists of different types of headlines that you can experiment with. But these are the ones that I use the most because they work, and this will get you a solid start. First, we have the how-to headline. This is one of my favorite and one of the simplest, but you can almost just add the words how-to to the beginning of whatever you're going to do, and it's a great way to connect with your reader and draw them in. Everybody loves to learn how to do things. So let's use tomato gardening as an example. We could say, how to grow big, flavorful tomatoes in half the time. Okay, the next one is top 10 lists. Or it could be top 5 or top 7 or top 21 or top 1,000, depending on how much information you have to provide. An example would be 101 ways to grow better tomatoes. Or it could be your top 21 tips for growing delicious tomatoes. Okay, the next one is mistakes. An example of this would be avoid 3 common mistakes people make when growing tomatoes. This basically works on the fear principle. We all know that we're not perfect, and there's always room for improvement. So if you basically tell someone right up front that they're probably making a mistake, it's very compelling to want to figure out what that mistake is and figure out a way to solve it. Okay, the next one is solving a problem. This is a headline type that makes it clear that you are going to solve a common problem or a specific problem that your reader has. It could be as simple as, stop killing your tomatoes. Or I would say, stop killing your tomatoes with these 3 easy tricks. The next one is questions. Questions can be good for email subject lines or even occasionally for web page titles. And they work really well with SEO if you word them in the way that someone would type them in to Google. So a good example of a question headline would be, how can you save your tomatoes from frost? But an even better SEO version of it would be, how can I save my tomatoes from frost? The next one is intrigue. This is where you build curiosity or mystery into your title to make people want to click on it to find out more. You have to be pretty careful with this one because if you don't get it right, then you can actually just end up confusing your reader, which will not inspire them to want to click on your headline. An example of this is, this little known tomato variety is likely to become your new favorite. And by the way, if you're a gardener and you haven't tried sun sugar tomatoes, I highly recommend it. If I were going to write an article with that title, it would definitely be about sun sugar tomatoes. And I'm getting off the subject, but see, that's what happens with titles like that. A good headline will get inside of your brain. It will stir up your passions and your curiosity and your desire for solutions and answers, and it will make you want to click. And that's really what you're going for. So then I have one final one. It's called social proof. Social proof is where you show your reader that other people are interested in this product as well. Here's an example of a social proof headline. This little known tomato variety is becoming more popular by the minute. So you can see how the headline implies that lots of people are interested in this tomato variety. Of course, if you do that in your headline, you'd want to support that with solid social proof in your body copy. And that leads me into 3 additional tips for making your headlines effective. The first one is promise, but don't overpromise. You want to make a compelling promise in your headline that appeals to people and draws them in, and that you can deliver on in your body copy. The second one is be witty, but not too witty. It's better to have a boring headline that actually makes sense than a headline that tries so hard to be witty that no one can comprehend it. And that kind of goes back to the speak human idea, where simple, clear language works better than overly complex language. And finally, and this is my most important bit of advice, spend a lot of time on your headline. I've heard some professional copywriters say that you should spend upwards of half of your total writing time on your headline. And if that sounds crazy to you, here's why it's true. If your headline isn't good and it doesn't get people reading, then the rest of your sales copy is worthless. So all of that time you spent on it doesn't do any good. So make your headline compelling, make it effective, and make it clear, and you've won the first battle of getting them to read your sales copy.